I'm sure it may come as a surprise to many of you that several years back, as I'm sure you know, I'm a high school choir director, that I had a group of students that was not being super nice to each other. We had a little bit of backstabbing going on, a whole lot of sniping between kids in the class. As we are a very competitive school, there was a lot of unhealthy competition going on between the kids in class. And I tend to average classes of about 40 kids, and we've been up as big as about 75 in our class. We start class with the bell, we end class with the bell. There's not really a whole lot of time for them to intermingle, and so it's those few minutes between class. It's just like back and forth against each other all the time. And it doesn't take a whole lot to set off a class of high school kids. They can get pretty upset with each other. They like to take sides. It can be a bit of a challenge sometimes, and so as teachers, we had to sit back and decide, well, what are we going to do about this? Like we've got to work together. That's the whole thing about what an ensemble is. They're a team. They work together. It's the same as in sports. You're not likely to have a great athletics team if they're all arguing and fighting with each other. It's the coach or the director's job to get them to work together, and so. As directors, we sought out some speakers and listened to some different viewpoints on the matter. And one speaker gave us some ideas of some activities that we could try with the kids. I'm going to have you mentally kind of go through one of these activities here with us. If you want to write some little things down privately, you're welcome to. But the first thing that he had us do, and of course with high school kids, we kept this on a little bit of a lighter level. This can get pretty deep. But had them write down something that they felt that others saw them as a negative quality of themselves. What is something that they felt others saw as a negative quality, but that they themselves did not believe was true? And so they would write down that thing, and we would kind of go around and discuss, and we'd have some small groups kind of talking about what kind of things do you feel that maybe you are doing that's encouraging that kind of viewpoint, but that you don't believe is something that is actually really true to your reputation and who you are. Some of them might say, some people might think that I'm mean and distant, but I'm actually just shy and I'm introverted. That's not who I am, but I maybe come across that way. Along the same line, some of them may say, well, I just have a mean resting face. And that's not who I am. That's just when I zone out. Sometimes I have a mean look on my face. Others might say, somebody just might think that I'm arrogant. I'm very successful in the program. And some might think because of my success that I'm very arrogant. But if people would just come and ask me for help, I'm so willing to give them my time and give them my help and work with them after school to try to help them experience the successes that I've had. From that point, we had them, after they've kind of shared some of those experiences, and I should say, the interesting thing is as they shared some of those things with their peers, more often than not, their peers would say, I actually don't see those things in you at all. So many of those things are things that you were afraid that people see in you, that you hold inside, and that you kind of project onto others. But what we really wanted them to see following that is what kind of qualities do you believe that you have that you wish that others would see more? And so we'd have them group together and talk about those kinds of things. And, some of them would say, well, I feel like I'm a very kind person, and I wish people would see that. I wish we had opportunities for you to be able to experience that from me. Others saying, well, I feel like I'm very helpful. I feel like I'm, one might say, well, I feel like I'm really successful in my academic classes, and I wish others would see that. People, and of course, this turns back into the previous thing. I think other people maybe see that or perceive that I'm not intelligent. I really am, and I wish I had opportunities to be able to show that. Now you may ask, like, where am I going with this? What does this mean to us tonight? And what I want to talk to you just briefly about tonight is about your reputation, your legacy, the kinds of things that you can show to others and that you can represent to others. There are very few things in life that we leave behind after we leave this life. We don't take our money with us. That's left behind here, and that just dissipates and goes away. All of our accomplishments generally go away. But our legacy and our reputation, the things that we leave behind with our family, with our coworkers, with our peers, those kinds of things can have a long-lasting impact on what follows. And so So I ask you right now, take a moment and think of if you were to put on that badge of the thing that you want others to see in you, what can you do to help others to see that? I give an example for myself. When I was pretty young, it actually really struck me. I don't know why this just stuck out to me, but it really struck me when I learned that the translation of Barnabas, his name was son of encouragement. And I thought that was really striking. In Acts 11:22-24, talking about Barnabas, it says, the news about them reached the ears of the church at Jerusalem, and they sent Barnabas to Antioch. Then when he arrived and witnessed the grace of God, he rejoiced and began to encourage them all with a resolute heart to remain true to the Lord, for he was a good man and full of the Holy Spirit and of faith, and considerable numbers were brought to the Lord. The son of encouragement, that translation really stuck to me. It's something that I've held on to my whole life, sometimes with greater and sometimes with lesser success. But just wanting to be one of those that is encouraging, that tries to reach out to people to say, you're doing a great job. I appreciate you. I recognize you. I see you. That's something that stuck with me, and it's something that I've tried to make sure that I focus on to reach out to others. What is the thing for you? What is your strength? What is that thing that you want others to see in you? Consider the impact of parents who have raised godly children upon the exponential generations to follow. The things that they have shown to their children, raised them in the church. You have 2 or 3 kids. Each one of them have 2 or 3 kids. Each one of them have 2 or 3 kids. And we're not even talking about their spouse that they marry into and having that impact branching out into their family to follow. What an incredible impact because of the reputation. How many of you can look back upon your parents, your grandparents, even your great-grandparents, and you can see the impact filtering down through your family? What an incredible thing. Many of our great-grandparents are not even with us anymore, but their reputation has followed them down through generations. How much of an impact can you have with your reputation, the way that you let your light shine upon the one person that you bring to church, the one person that may be baptized because of your influence upon their future family, their coworkers, their peers, even the person that you may meet just briefly in the line at the grocery store and having a conversation that may turn lightly towards spiritual things and get that person thinking, I haven't been to church in a long time, maybe I should go. Simple things. The way that you treat your coworkers, employees, and customers can impact how these people who know that you are a member of the Church of Christ will talk about the church. How often have you been frustrated trying to talk to someone about the church and they put up that barrier because of their experience with someone who wasn't letting their light shine? I'm brought to mind, I'm sure a few of you have heard of Chris Pratt, who recently has been in the news as someone who had some and I don't know what they were, but had some religious beliefs that kind of rubbed some people the wrong way. He was not apologetic about those things and stood up for those things. At the same time, and no one talks about this very much, but was also recently praised for being the first one in a Marvel movie to drop a specific 4-letter curse word in that movie. How strong is his reputation upon Christianity? Someone who could have been, lifted up and saying he's got these beliefs, he's really sticking for what he believes in, but is also the one that's going to be dropping a curse word in a movie for the first time in the franchise. Even little things with your reputation can make such an impact. I've got several verses I want to read to you in case we don't believe that God finds reputation and legacy to be important. In Proverbs 22:1, the writer says, a good name is to be more desired than great wealth. Favor is better than silver and gold. In 1 Peter 2:12, it says, keep your behavior excellent among the Gentiles, so that in the thing which they slander you as evildoers, they may, because of your good deeds, as they observe them, glorify God in the day of visitation. On the choosing of the 7 in Acts 6:3, it says, "Therefore, brethren, select from among you 7 men of good reputation, full of the Spirit and of wisdom, whom we may put in charge of this task." On the qualification of elders, in 1 Timothy 3:7, it says, "And he must have a good reputation with those outside the church, so that he will not fall into reproach and snare of the devil." In Romans 6:1-2, it says, "I commend to you our sister Phoebe, who is a servant of the church which is at Cenchrea, that you may receive her in the Lord in a manner worthy of the saints, and that you may help her in whatever matter she may have need of you. For she herself has also been a helper of many, and of myself as well." There's a quote from a popular musical these days that says, "Legacy. What is a legacy? It is planting seeds in a garden that you never get to see." And so I ask you tonight, what is your legacy? What is your reputation? Are you letting your light shine? Are the best qualities that you have to offer, are you cultivating those and letting those shine so that others may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven? I encourage you all this week to reach out to others. Let your light shine. Let your legacy show and build your reputation as a Christian, as a son of God. At this time, we're going to have a moment to sing one of our invitation songs. If you have not taken the opportunity tonight, if you have not taken the opportunity to come forward and be baptized, I encourage you to do so tonight. If your legacy has been failing and you want to make a change, if your reputation needs to be uplifted, I encourage you to come forward and let us pray for you as we stand and as we sing tonight.